Most people shopping gated communities in Reno are doing it the exact same way. They pull up a map, they filter it by the price, they see a photo of the gate and some manicured landscaping. Then they finish that out with, "That's the one." And I get it. It looks good and it photographs well. But here's the thing. A gate doesn't tell you anything about what it's like to live on the other side. So today I'm going to break down the top 5 gated communities in Reno for families. These are going to be ranked by what actually matters. Not by the photos or the drone footage, but by the real version. Hi, I'm Chris Rayner, a local broker here in Reno. I made this exact same move myself back in 2015. So I'm not speculating. I did the research, I packed the boxes, and I figured out what's not in the listing description. My wife Cindy and I help families every single week make this exact same move. And after decades of doing this, this is what I keep telling families. Everybody moving here wants the same 3 things: space, safety, and a lifestyle that doesn't cost them their sanity. And gated communities seem to be the answer for all 3. And they can be. But which one you're in matters way more than whether you're behind one or not. Because I've seen people buy in the wrong neighborhood and spend the next 2 years tolerating a lifestyle only to move again. And when they make it to us, they always tell us that that location isn't what they moved here for. And that is what this video's all about. So stick around. We're going to cover which communities are better for younger families and which one's genuinely for the buyers that want luxury and which one is the smartest move if that California equity needs something useful to do. We're going to hit all 5 communities, so let's get into it. Starting with ArrowCreek, and I'm starting here intentionally because this is where I start to send buyers who come in and say, "I've done the research, I know what I want, just show me the best options and I want it all." This one has 2 private golf courses, a guard gated with actual security, a clubhouse, a gym, pools, and tennis courts. On one side you have city views, on the other you have mountain views. And here's the detail that surprises almost every California buyer. The amenities here actually get used. I know that sounds like a low bar, but it's not. A lot of luxury communities have a pool similar to a model home has a kitchen. It's there, it's pretty, but no one's actually cooking in it. ArrowCreek actually has kids at the pool and the parents at the tennis courts. And the community treats this place like they actually live there, which after paying $1.5 million for a home is a reasonable expectation. The price ranges in ArrowCreek range anywhere from about $900,000 to $3 million. But there's one thing I want to be very upfront about with this community, and that is it sits up on the hills above South Reno. The views are legitimately great. The wind? It's also legitimate. Reno wind is not a weather event. It's actually a lifestyle in certain communities. And up in ArrowCreek, it's part of the deal. I have clients that move up here, set up a beautiful patio, string the lights, the entire ordeal. But then the wind showed up and had a different vision for that space. So factor it in, plan for it, you'll be just fine. But overall, this is the yes to all of it for Reno families. And the second community is Montreux. And if ArrowCreek is the balanced answer, then Montreux's for the buyer who looked at ArrowCreek and said it's not just quite enough. Montreux is a Jack Nicholson golf course. It has custom homes, larger lots, tall pines that block out enough sky that you actually forget you're in the high desert. The first time most people drive through Montreux, they slow down and they get quiet for a few seconds. That's because you don't feel like you're in Reno. It looks like somewhere you would pay a premium to stay in a custom cabin for the week. Except here, you actually live there. And here's the part that really gets California buyers. You're still only 30 minutes from Lake Tahoe. So you get the Tahoe feel at home and the actual lake on the weekends when you feel like making the drive. The price range in Montreux ranges anywhere from about $1.5 million to upwards of $5 million. But for a moment of clarity about this neighborhood. The elevation here is about 5,500 to 5,900, so winters are a little bit different animal than a lot of Reno. That's because our snow table sits at 5,000 feet, so yes, snow stays around a little bit longer and the roads need a little bit more attention. But Montreux is that sweet spot. It has just enough snow to make you feel like you're in the mountains for a short period each winter. But it's not so much that it makes you regret all your life decisions in January. So if you're coming from somewhere in Southern California where cold weather means putting on a light jacket or windbreaker in December, then this is going to be an adjustment. A beautiful one, but still an adjustment. Families in Montreux are the households where the kids have structured schedules, the parents have clear preferences, but if you need just a little bit more chaos in your life, the next few options might be a better fit for you. Community number 3 is called Saddle Ridge. This one doesn't really come up in a lot of conversations about gated communities inside of Reno, which is exactly why I'm putting it on the list. Saddle Ridge has no golf course, no clubhouse memberships to think about, no amenity packages with fees attached to those amenities you only use twice a year. But what you do get instead are larger lots, custom homes, streets quiet enough that when a car goes by, you'll actually notice. The buyers who actually like this neighborhood the most are typically the people who spent a decade in California where the houses were closer. The HOAs had lots of opinions, and personal space were more of a concept rather than a reality. These buyers are not looking for a resort lifestyle. Instead, they would rather have a little bit of room to just exhale. And Saddle Ridge is that. Price range in this neighborhood typically runs from $1 million to $2.5 million. And the trade-off is worth saying out loud. There's no on-site amenities, and if you want a gym, a pool, or a club, then you're going to be driving to it. And for most people who choose Saddle Ridge, that's not a trade-off. That was the entire point. They're not interested in paying for a lifestyle that they didn't come here for anyways. So Saddle Ridge is an underrated community, and we feel like it's underpriced comparative to what you actually get. It's worth a serious look before you make the assumption that you need to have the country club. Now, everything I've mentioned has been on the quieter end of the spectrum. The next community is not. And for a particular buyer, that is the exact appeal. And that brings us to our 4th community called Rancharrah. Rancharrah is the one on the list that doesn't fit the typical gated community mental image. It has modern homes, resort clubhouse, pool, spa, and gym. But there's also a walkable village inside the gate. They have restaurants, shops, and events on the calendar. It's a neighborhood that's sort of a destination. People who move here are the ones who typically come from denser neighborhoods, especially those from the Bay Area. They tend to lean in on this one fast. That's because it has the actual energy of something is going on, but you can still park your car. The social element here is real. You will know your neighbors. And we don't mean wave from the driveway kind of know. We mean you know what they actually do for a living. Your kids will absorb a small army of friends all within the first 2 weeks. You'll end up adding people to your contact list that you haven't seen since college orientation. Price ranges here typically run from about $800,000 to upwards of $2 million. But what you're trading for that lifestyle is smaller lots, less separation between homes, HOA dues that are priced to match what the amenities actually cost to run, and a social life that you didn't entirely opt into. So, if you're someone who needs a hard boundary between neighbors and the person I want to talk to, Rancharrah will test that boundary on day one. But if this sounds good rather than alarming, this is the best version of that lifestyle in Reno. It has a real community. And that brings us to community number 5, which is Damonte Ranch. This is the last one, and this is one I want to spend a minute on, because this is the one that most people dismiss before they've even taken a deep look into it. Damonte Ranch has several gated pockets, and it doesn't come with a golf course or a Jack Nicklaus anything. What it comes with is a family neighborhood that actually functions like a family neighborhood. Price ranges here typically run from about $600,000 to $1 million, which if you're coming from California, that means your equity's about to do something it hasn't done in years. Work. There's good schools close by, parks, trails, and newer construction. Everything in South Reno is within an easy reach. Shopping, restaurants, the freeway, and the airport. You're only about 15 minutes from the airport and roughly 30 minutes from Lake Tahoe. And the street level energy is what a lot of California transplants actually comment on. Kids are outside and they're not on a supervised outdoor venture with a schedule. They're just kids outside, because that's what kids here do.
Yeah, Lucas, they're on us.
You're gonna find a lot of side-by-sides parked in the garages, people there wave when you drive by, and somebody's always doing something in their driveway. It's the version of suburban life that a lot of Californians left but come here looking for. And in Reno, and at this price point, you can actually afford it without refinancing your future. So quick break before we do the comparison wrap. If you're watching this and running the math on your particular situation, and you're wondering which community, lifestyle, and schools actually fit what you want your life to look like, then that's the exact conversation we're ready to have with you. My wife Cindy and I have decades of experience in both California and Nevada. Between the two of us, we have worked more sides on more transactions than buyers even realize they have sides too. There is a lot of stuff that comes in from that California to Reno move that a lot of California agents just simply don't understand. And your Google search isn't actually going to surface until after you're already in escrow. So if you'd like to have a quick conversation about what your situation would actually look like, then schedule a call with us at www.meetwithchris.com. We'll map out the move, go over timelines, and where you should actually land. No sales pitch, just answers. Now to finish this up, I want to give you a quick comparison of all these neighborhoods from a local perspective. So here's the short version before we close. The best overall balance is ArrowCreek. The best pure luxury is Montreux. The best privacy and space is Saddle Ridge. The best lifestyle and community energy is Rancharrah. And the best value for families is Damonte Ranch. So that's the list. But here's the part that don't make it into most of the conversations. And that is the community that you pick matters. But Reno itself is doing a lot of that work for you. And that's because every single one of these neighborhoods are all within about 30 to 40 minutes to Lake Tahoe. Every one of them are all within about 15 minutes to the airport. I had a client a couple years ago from the Bay Area, a long commute history, moved into Damonte Ranch. The first Saturday morning, he's at the lake by 9 a.m. He called me from the water not to talk about real estate, just to tell me he wanted someone to know that he used to leave his house at 6:45 a.m. to make it into an 8 a.m. meeting in San Francisco. Same drive time, different destination. And that's what the move actually buys you. Here's what I want you to actually walk away with. The gate in every one of these communities looks good. The listings will always say things like private, exclusive, and resort lifestyle. Every listing says that. What the listing doesn't actually tell you is whether the amenities are actually used or not, and whether the community actually fits your lifestyle, or whether the elevation means you might end up shoveling in March, or whether the HOA is the kind that sends out reminder emails with a lot of bold text and an attachment. And that's the stuff that determines whether you'll love it or not. So if you want help sorting through all that noise, go to meetwithchris.com and book a call. We'll work through your priorities, your budget, and your timeline. And you will get told the truth about every one of these communities, including the stuff that doesn't make it into the drone video. And if you're not ready for that yet, no problem. hit that subscribe button and watch for our next video. We send these out every Saturday morning. We cover neighborhoods, breakdowns, cost of living, and what Reno actually looks like once you're past the welcome sign. You're not going to get any fluff or hype, just the stuff you actually need to make a great decision. And stay tuned because we're going to deep dive every one of these communities in a future video. I'm Chris Rayner, your go-to realtor for all things Reno. We'll see you on the next one.